Miami. Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, producer and co-founder, Brian Goins.
What's up?
How we doing, Brian?
Back to the old days, man. Back to the old days.
I forgot to change the Chiron, so we're doing that live. Listen, I'm telling you, we're doing, what are we on, episode 402? Look at us go.
Let's find out.
You know?
Let's go to our
we'll
RSS feed. Do it the old-fashioned way. Refresh this page.
Yeah. So today we have a lot to talk about. Most importantly, should the Heat get another All-Star, right? So there's a lot of talk. If Zach Levine's going to miss, we know that Jared Allen, who's now named the replacement for James Harden, the Heat still first place in the East. They're first place. They only have one All-Star. They have, I think, a few viable candidates. We have more than that to get to today. Thank you to our audience on Twitch. Thank you to our pod audience. I don't think we thank the pod audience enough. The pod audience is really what makes this thing run. So if you listen on a podcast, thank you for your support. If you can leave a 5-star review, we would love and appreciate that. If you are an audience on YouTube, subscribing is the most kind thing you can do. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you are here on Twitch and our patronage, thank you very much. Brian.
What's up?
The Heat have a couple options if Levine doesn't play, right? There's, I think the main candidates are going to be Drew Holiday. I think Drew is going to be a guy that gets looked at a ton. Pascal Siakam is going to be another guy that gets looked at a lot. I think Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero. Now, I don't particularly think that Tyler Hero. Is Alf saying that Twitch broadcasted this as Hangover Time? Of course it did. Listen, I'm not brass, right? We sometimes have mistakes that happen here, but you know what? We get through it and we fix it. So Brian, out of those guys, or if there's another guy that I missed, I don't know if any of them can get in over Siakam or Holiday, but I think that they'll have a chance.
So I'm very curious to see how they're going to go about choosing this alternative, because if you're basing this off, especially with these past week of games, Siakam has a really good case to pretty much be one of the people to be selected as a replacement. I mean, honestly, he's been one of the top maybe 15 players in the league over the last week and a half. He's been that great for the Raptors, and obviously on a winning streak of late. I think they're now 7 for 6 in the East. So I could see Siakam making it. The Drew Holiday case is good too. My only issue with that is I don't particularly like Milwaukee getting 3 All-Stars when they're not even the number 1 seed in their conference. Especially there's other teams with better records even in the West that don't have even more than 2 All-Stars. So I kind of don't particularly like the idea of Drew Holiday getting it as good as of season he's had. And then what are the other two guys? You guys, obviously you said Lowry and Hero. I would love to have one of them on the team, obviously, because it'd be great for Hero, and even probably more for Lowry, I think, for his case.
I think Kyle, and I've said this a bunch, his Hall of Fame, I think his Hall of Fame bid is pretty set, but I think 7-time All-Star is kind of a magic ticket.
I agree. Pretty much the only other player I can think of that she left off would probably be Jaylen Brown. Obviously, Boston's been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. So
I just don't think Jaylen.
I mean, it depends on how they're going to look about choosing the replacement. If they're even counting these last few games, or if they're just counting it towards the end of, I don't even know, All-Star voting, or when they announce the reserves. If that's their cutoff date of when they're kind of choosing these players, then maybe Miami has a better shot than some of these other teams, because Siakam's recent hot streak didn't really start until after he picked reserves. He's had a great year, but his hot streak really started right after. Jaylen Brown's been pretty consistent all year, so maybe Jaylen Brown could be the other player, but I don't know. It's really interesting to see what happens. I know Zach Levine is already out for these next 2 games. That's what the Bulls announced. Doesn't mean that he'll miss the All-Star game, but we'll see. I have no idea if he would want to turn that down. I mean, there's not many cases where he'd become an all-star. And he's young in his career, so he might want to try to. I mean, you're not really playing that much anyway, period, in an all-star game.
Yeah.
So he
So
might just want to be there just to be there.
I mean, I think the honor is important for Hall of Fame bid, and if even if you haven't played it, I think as well, like those things are pretty important. By the way, chat, happy Valentine's Day to y'all. You know what, my alone ass, you're my Valentine this year. Brian has a wife. Most people in Heat Beat are either wifed up or taken. But you guys are my Valentine. Just me and you, chat. You're mean to me, but I love you anyway. It's kind of that kind of relationship. You talk bad about me, but I know at the end of the day you love me. So that's where we are. So a happy Valentine's to chat. On this momentous day. Shout out to Kev for tier 1 sub gifted to Shades Fitty. That he's always on here. So appreciate and love you guys. Their All-Star bid is complicated. I think if Bam had played all season, he's really the guy that makes most sense. Now, I actually think I think this recent Bam stretch has kind of changed that a little bit. But I think for the macro of the season, I just felt Kyle has been a little bit more of an impact player. Bam hasn't been up to Bam standards. It's just kind of weird because you look at the numbers and they look kind of good. I do think it's a little alarming that a lot of the advanced metrics don't like Bam this year, and they typically like Bam a lot. Part of that could be the decrease in assists. His finishing at the rim has gone down, which is a little concerning, and the shooting has just gone down in general, like the percentages. So part of that's been a little strange, although even now he's not shooting.
It's gone up.
He's not. Yeah, I mean, lately he's been playing well, but
since that Celtics game, it's gone up tremendously.
Yeah, he's just been a wrecking ball lately, and I think that's been a product of kind of that starting lineup playing a lot more and the rotation kind of settling in, which has been interesting, Brian, because the bench, which has been a strength for them, has kind of been a little bit on the fritz lately, particularly in that Nets game. We can talk about that later, but Bam is kind of the surefire guy typically, but he just hasn't played enough games. So that kind of leaves you with Lowry and Hero. And if you look at Lowry's numbers, they don't make you feel good. You know what I mean? Like his numbers don't come out and you're just like, yeah, that guy I gotta take to the All-Star game. And his counting stats are kind of similar to Chris Paul's, but you know that Chris has the low turnover rate, the efficiency, all that stuff for Chris. Kyle's at 13 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, about 4.5 rebounds, with 34% from 3, 42% from the field. 53% from 2, which is really, really good. So you don't feel great about that, right? And his advanced metrics are kind of like, like they're fine. They're not like, oh my God, this guy is doing Draymond Green stuff that like all the numbers say. It's more of like, okay, like, he's an impact player. Tyler, on the other hand, is averaging 20, 4, and 5, 46% from 2, 37% from 3, good. So those are kind of your choices. I think Kyle has been a bit more of an impact player. I'm curious as to what chat says. You guys should get in on this as well. Plant Poppy asks, how many subs for Pepas? It's 200. The sub count's broken. I don't know how to fix it. We're going to fix it. But stop the count. We'll update you before the show's over. Brian M., if you're watching, can you update us on the sub count so that we can let people know what's going on here, if Alf has to sing Pepas or not? But yeah, Brian, that's kind of where I am with the Heat's All-Star cases. They have the best record. They have a lot of guys that are really good, but like guys like Siakam and Brown and Drew, they just have like stronger statistical cases. And even though their teams aren't winning, it's kind of funky.
I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the East this year, so it's going to be interesting who they choose, because you can make a case for pretty much any of these teams to like have at least a second All-Star representative. Pretty much all these teams have one now, especially now that Charlotte has LaMelo going as a replacement. So every team has one person representing their team. It's the case of who gets the second. I think the Heat should probably get a second just for the record overall. I don't know. It's really going to be interesting. I've had a guess. I've had a bet. Probably does go to Siakam. But
I mean, he would be super deserving.
But the thing is, like, would that be too many like front court players now and not enough like guards? Because you're talking Levine being out, Harden being out. Obviously, LaMelo replaced. Who did LaMelo replace? Oh, Durant. He replaced Durant. So I guess one of those forward spots to get kind of take. Well, he's almost like a front court player in a way. So yeah.
I mean, they don't have to like abide by position too much.
No, but I'm just thinking like, is there too many like front court heavy players on this roster? And it also doesn't. I don't even.
The rest of the choices are guards.
Well, the thing is, I don't even know who's on like which team anymore because I know they did the draft. I think
LeBron,
Harden was on Team LeBron. So
LeBron's out doubtful for tomorrow against Utah. By the way, McMenamin just posted that. So
really,
maybe LeBron might be.
It seems like they're going to rest a lot of players. Even Jimmy Butler's questionable for tomorrow's game against the Mavs.
What's wrong with him now? Is it the toe again?
Don't know actually. I'll find out for you. I know he's questionable. Obviously, PJ is questionable still.
For the knee?
Tyler Hero's out actually tomorrow with the knee.
What's wrong with Tyler's knee? When did that happen? Because he was like out for a while. He played.
So I heard. So Chang posted a tweet today saying that they did an MRI, didn't find any structural ligament damage or anything like that. So that's good. It's just a knee contusion. It happened during that play where he fell out of bounds in the Charlotte Hornets game.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like LaMelo had pushed him or something.
Yeah.
And he fell out of bounds when he was like going for a loose ball.
LaMelo.
And he still he came back and he went like on like a 10-point run right after that. He pointed at the bench, the Charlotte Hornets bench, pointing at LaMelo specifically. So it was that game where he got hurt. But yeah, apparently did an MRI. He's fine.
And Jimmy has a shoulder.
He's just trying to get rest.
He culture in chat saying, he culture in chat says questionable with the shoulder. That one's new. That one it's usually lower body with Jimmy, or lower body or wrist historically. So yeah. Shoulders new.
I kind of want him to play though against the Mavs. I would have him sit out the Hornets game coming up this week, but I would like to have him play against the Mavs at home if possible.
I think sitting out games in general is just kind of tough for them. I mean, they're first, but they don't have. I mean, the lead at first. What do they have? A game lead on Cleveland, who's second. Yeah, right.
And they have the tiebreaker over us still.
Yeah,
they won both their games.
And again, this is not. This is not important, right? But they have a game lead over the Bulls, so they do have the tiebreaker. They're 2 up.
Bulls are in second.
Yeah,
I think
they're
Cleveland's
2 up on Cleveland.
Either a game and a half, or they're also
2.
a game away.
They're 2. The Heat are up 2 on Cleveland, 2 on Milwaukee. 2.5 on Philly and 2.5 and 4.5 on Boston, who's 6.
A couple of those teams play today, so it could be a tighter lead than that.
Dallas is playing well. That trade was weird. Dallas is 5th in the West. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They lost their last game. They're 33-24, so pretty good. They have the 10th best record in the league overall. Miami has the 4th, right behind Memphis. They're about 2.5 games behind 4th place overall in the NBA. The Mavs game is kind of funky, and we're not that we have to preview it. We'll have that on Weird Off pregame show tomorrow. But they, with the Porzingis trade and everything, it's a lot of potential random score peakers. You just gotta hope Jimmy plays. But yeah, a lot of injuries. Hopefully he get an all-star. Brian, the other thing I wanted to get to today was, so the Heat made a signing.
Yep.
They brought back our boy. What's his name?
I want to let you guess. Hold on. I want to let you fail and guess.
I knew this. It was
because you said our boy, like you knew exactly who we were talking about. I don't even think you know his first name. Can you get his first name right?
Something Highsmith.
Okay. Hey, that's actually pretty good. You got his last name.
It's Highsmith, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Haywood Highsmith.
Haywood Highsmith. Got you. I was like,
like Spencer Haywood.
Yes. Way to be a good teammate. So they brought him back. How does that affect? So he's on a 10-day, right?
He's on a 10-day contract. They announced that today.
Did they bring him just because they
starts today or tomorrow?
That kind of makes me feel like they don't feel confident about their dude's health. They're just bringing a forward. He's a forward, right?
Well, if you look at the injury report, Caleb Martin is. I think he's also listed out for tomorrow. With the Achilles injury. If Jimmy might not play tomorrow, I mean, they have 13 players after the KZ trade. So if you're already counting Caleb and Hero out, you're down to, 11 players?
Minus Jimmy.
And then if Jimmy's out, then there are 10 players deep.
Minus
that doesn't
PJ.
count. That doesn't count Caleb. Not Caleb. Kyle Guy. So technically Kyle Guy is also.
But I mean, their forwards are hurt, right? So like Jimmy, if Jimmy and Caleb are out, and PJ, those are your 3 non-center wings.
Exactly. But that's pretty much like 11 players that they would have. That's including Kyle Guy that they could suit up. So I imagine that's the reason why they brought him in. He knows the system. Obviously, he was on the 10-day when the Heat were going through COVID early in the season. Mm-hmm. He played 3 games for them. So I know he played pretty good in that Houston game. on
What
New
did
Year's
Leif
Eve.
say? Leif had tweeted something that they liked him or something.
Oh, they absolutely like him. I think if Caleb Martin gets, which we're all assuming, and it's pretty much guaranteed that he will get his contract converted. There's no deadline, by the way, and that convert. I looked this up the other day. So originally there usually is a deadline to convert these two-way players to full like end of year contracts, so that they can become eligible for the playoffs. So if we want Caleb Martin to be on the Heat's playoff rotation, which by all means is going to happen, the Heat pretty much can do it at any point before the end of the regular season. So they could wait till the last week of the season if they wanted to.
They need to convert
There's
him.
no rush.
They need to convert him to play him in the playoffs, all right?
But that's exactly they need to convert him. So right now they're at 14 players. They could do it now if they wanted to, but he's not playing. So there's a possibility. I have no idea what's going to be happening in the buyout market. Dragic potentially might be released tomorrow officially. There's a couple of players that already made it through waivers today. We can go through some of those names later on the show if you want.
Let's do that now.
But,
now that we're talking about just potential replacements, like who's on.
But let me just get to the
Yeah.
cap specifics for this 10 days. So right now, if the 10 days going through as of probably tomorrow, I think they're probably going to count the 10 day tomorrow. He'll be eligible for these next 2 games before the All-Star break comes. So it seems like he's just going to play for these next 2 games or be on the rotation for it. It's going to count approximately, I want to say it's $95,930 or $85,578. It depends how they want to count the 2-year or 3-year, that minimum. Because I think he only has 2 years of experience. He played 1 year in Philly, and then I guess this would be his second year. So it probably falls under the $85,578 cap hit, but actually it might go up because there's a tax variance rule where if you don't have like their draft rights, then they just automatically count it as the higher salary. So let's just say for all intents and purposes, about $96,000 is what he's going to get charged. The Heat right now are just below $2 million under the luxury tax. So it's not much of a cap hit at all for Miami. They could still sign 2 guys to the end of year contracts at any point this year.
Okay.
So
yeah, I guess that's what matters. I mean, I feel like so chat, Wilfred, who by the way, Wilfred subscribed with Prime. If you want a subscription, you can do it with Amazon Prime if you have it. Click the link in chat. But Wilfred said Bembry in all caps.
Yeah, Bembry made it through waivers today. His waivers was 5:30 p.m. I think was the last day for any teams to put in their claim in waivers. He made it through. Let me get the list for you because Keith Smith had tweeted it out. There's a couple of good names. I didn't even know some of these players made it through waivers. So let's see. So Bembry's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Potential player that we haven't even talked about. Tyreek Evans actually is eligible to sign my team now. He's out from his NBA suspension or banment from the NBA.
His Mac Pro just said that. What was it? Was it hard drugs?
I don't remember exactly
was it like
what substance. I think it might have been I don't know if it was performance enhancing or if it was actually.
Does anyone know? Does anybody chat and know? I mean, Turkoglu got nailed for performance. Do you remember?
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, Turkoglu got hit with the
Was
PED
that before
thing.
the Magic?
That was after or during the Magic, and then I think Stan Van Gundy said if he was using PEDs, then he's using the wrong ones. You don't remember that?
I don't remember.
That shit was so funny. I don't know if Stan said that on Dan's show or where. I don't remember. It might have been. I just know that Stan at one point. Oh no, Hito got hit. I don't remember, but I just do know that Hito got hit with it, and then that's what Stan said. I thought that was fucking funny.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
so here's some of the players that who cleared NBA waivers yesterday, and then some players that are clearing it today at 5. So yesterday was Michael Carter-Williams, PJ Dozier, Drew Eubanks, Etchwan Moore, Armani Brooks, Paul Watson. Probably of all those names, the only one I can really think of that I know really well is Michael Carter-Williams, but he's probably not a candidate for the Heat. He already have enough point guards.
Good. Etwan Moore's fine,
I guess. Next group of players that made it through waivers today was KZ Okpala. He can't re-sign him because we traded him away.
I don't want him.
Well, they're not able to
Good.
under the cap. Moses Brown's an interesting player. He's a center that rebounds pretty well. That's pretty much his only skill set. So they already have one. His name is Yurt.
And Deadman and Bam.
Yeah, DJ Augustine is another player.
No thanks. No more DJ Augustine. No.
Yeah, I don't trust him in the playoffs. DeAndre Bembry. Abdel Nader is an interesting name. I know he's a good defender. I don't think he does anything else.
It's a lot
and
of.
then I don't know these other two games.
you know-
Jamius Ramsey, I've never heard of, and Robert Wooder the second.
Do you know when the buyout deadline is to buy out a player, and for them to
To
sign
make it
with
to
the team?
playoffs? Oh yeah, that's a good one. March 1st is the deadline to buy out, to just waive a player or buy them out, and then for them to still be eligible to make it to the playoffs.
So if they sign March 2nd, then they're not playoff eligible.
If they're cut after March 1st,
If they're cut after March 1st.
I believe. Let me just verify that, but I believe it's after March 1st.
Okay.
They have to be waived by then. Like make it through waivers.
A couple weeks we're looking at before we kind of answer. I mean,
Dragic is not one of the names so far that's been in waivers because he hasn't actually been released from San Antonio yet. I guess we're still discussing the buyout.
it's
But it
probably
hasn't
how much
happened.
money he's going to give back.
Exactly. So I don't know how much he's willing to give up. He's already made half his contract with the Raptors, so they're pretty much buying out the last half of his salary, or probably more than that.
I can't believe he got traded to Toronto just to collect a check and not even be there.
Man, there's practice footage of him with Markieff that came out today. I saw.
Honestly, if there's like no buyout guy that's like, because I mean, chat's like Bembry, and I was like, but like if everybody's healthy, Bembry doesn't play. You know what I mean? And it's like
He's not. Does he play the 4? Can he play the 4? He's small, right?
yeah, I kind of. I mean,
You saw him more in the Raptors last year. Was he any good?
no.
I didn't see him much at all this year, even with the Nets.
I'm
I know
not
he
a
was
fan.
shooting the ball well.
He's fine. I mean, he's
not
better.
a good free throw shooter.
He's
a
better than
three-point shooter
nothing.
than free throw shooter, which is very interesting, very odd.
Not to sound like Tiff, but like he's better than nothing, right? So it's either him or nothing, right? But at that
6'5".
point, I just rather go Dragic for nostalgia. Just having Gogi there is just it'll make me happy, right?
Hey, I tried recruiting him yesterday.
I
I
saw.
think we actually got over 1,000 likes or 1,000 interactions on
I
that
saw.
tweet. I'm hoping that he saw it. I have no idea. But there
Do you
are
think Dragic
some
watched the Super Bowl? Do you think Gogi is like watching American
on Twitter
football?
watching it and then seeing the clips of people asking him to come back. Yeah, probably.
No, like do you think Gogi watches the Super Bowl?
If he just watches it in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like every sports fan, even like internationally, they probably.
I
watch
barely
American
watch the
sports.
Super Bowl.
I mean, think about it. Like the Super Bowl is like pretty much the biggest event in. in the
I
US.
didn't know
It's the
Matthew
biggest money-
Stafford was still playing. I
I'm
learned
not
that
gonna talk
yesterday.
football with you.
I
I'm not
learned
gonna
that
talk
yesterday. I was like, oh, Matthew Stafford.
Who do you think is the Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback still?
It's Trevor Lawrence. That's my
You
guy.
got that one right.
Trevor, and we fired Urban Meyer.
Look at you.
We hired a new coach. I don't remember his name, but I know that we fired Urban, and we have Trevi Lawrence. Jags lifer legend Tony Baselli got inducted to the Hall of Fame. I'm a Jags fan. Okay, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. I know.
I hate this bit.
I know what's
I hate.
going
It's
on.
a bit. I know
not
it's a bit. I hate it.
I watched the Jags. I watch a couple Jags games whenever. I don't pay for the fucking. NFL
Did you watch them beat the?
I did watch them beat the Dolphins
in
because
London?
that game was on. I could actually watch that game because them and the Dolphins play at the same time. So I can't watch the Jags, but I can watch the Dolphins. So I can watch them play the Dolphins. I'd rather have Dragic. I think.
I trust me. If I had to pick any of these guys, I want Dragic
I'd
more
rather
than anyone else.
Not even because Dragic is going to help. Because Dragic isn't going to help. He's not going to play.
None of these guys are going to help. None of these buyout guys are going to be playing.
Would
I don't
Dragic
think,
want to come here and not play though? That's the thing
That's
too.
the thing. I don't know, and I want to get to this pretty soon. But I guess I can report something. I mean, it's secondhand info. It's not my info.
It's just
but-
some dude on Twitter. Just say what it is.
Okay, it's some dude on Twitter that follows us, but he has a picture with him at the game, literally sitting on the seat left to Dragic at the recent game against. Who the fuck did we play this last game?
The Nets.
The Nets. We played the Nets 2 days ago, and so he was.
I don't know the
basically
name of the
responding-
people we're signing. You don't know who we played 2 days ago. We're in shambles.
All right. Well, the guy's name is Andres Robledo. He's A Robledo 3 on Twitter. So he posted a picture. And I'll show you the picture. I know you'd probably be better if I sent it to you instead, but
Probably.
that's the picture. So he was at the game sitting next to Goran Dragic and Tyler Johnson and Hassan Whiteside's cousin.
How do you know that that's Hassan Whiteside's cousin?
Twitter, man.
You know for sure, or are you just guessing?
I think we know for sure.
How do you know for sure?
People know on Twitter, man. They know who Hassan
people?
Tyson's.
Is it Trilly?
People?
Who's people?
Trilly's one of them. Yeah, Trilly's
Did
one of them.
Trilly say this?
Yeah, Trilly did say this.
Trilly said that that's straight rich.
I don't know if it's straight rich. It's either one of Hassan's cousins, one of Hassan's friends.
So
I think he might have been in that Tanked episode.
So he's
is why they're
Hassan
bringing him.
Whiteside adjacent.
I'm pretty sure he was on the Tanked episode where he had his fish tank built for him.
Okay, so it's not straight rich. We don't know that it's straight rich. We just know that it's a Hassan Whiteside.
I want to say it's straight rich, but I don't know if it is.
I thought Gogi and Hassan didn't get along by the end.
Listen, man, I don't know.
I did think it was funny that Tyler Johnson was also there. They were clearly watching their good friend James
He's
Johnson.
another player that's a free agent that he could bring back.
I think he's more useful than Dragic.
He was pretty good last year.
Why is he? That's weird that he's not signed. I mean, he's the guy that the Lakers should have looked at. If I'm being honest, he kind of makes sense to LeBron.
Yeah, he does.
Athletic kind of player, good play defense, good hands, can shoot a little bit. I think he makes more sense next to LeBron than Kendrick Nunn. I know that Nunn's more talented, but
Nunn's not even coming back till March, which by
that's absolutely insane. That
they could be out of the playoffs for them.
The Lakers signed this guy.
That'd be fucking hilarious if they don't make the playoffs.
They're gonna make the play-in. I mean, Portland decided.
No, but if they don't make it into the playoffs, I'd be fucking.
Who would they play? I mean, Minnesota's better than them. So it's like them.
I think Portland's still in the play-in.
Yeah,
it'll be either Portland or San Antonio.
The Pelicans are a half game out. The Pelicans are trying to win. The Pelicans are going to get in. So it's going to the Blazers.
And by then, I might be back. That'd be kind of interesting.
The Blazers are actively not trying. So it's going to probably be the Clippers, the Timberwolves, the Lakers, and the Pelicans. And if Zion comes back, how are the Kings? Man, how embarrassing their Kings. The Kings are below teams that are trying to lose. Incredible.
I'm still sad that he didn't get Barnes, to be honest.
Honestly, I hate Sacramento for hoarding Harrison Barnes. I think on Hangover Time, I called them the Jeff Bezos of player hoarding. Like Jeff Bezos, like wealth hoards. They're player hoarding. They hoard good players. That trade worked out for both of them because Sabonis has been good for them and Halliburton has been really good for Indiana. So that's the rare win-win. Even though, bro, how do you trade a dude that like cries because he wants to be in your fucking Albatross franchise? Nobody wants to be there, and you trade the dude who begged you to stay. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I can't with them. Heat fans, we can complain about a lot of things. You could never complain that your franchise is run like that. I mean, that is absolutely that is so embarrassing. And when the Heat get rid of dudes, they come back. Look at Dragic.
They traded him on a rookie contract, which rarely ever happens.
That's crazy.
Like he wasn't up for an extension for like another 3 seasons, which on top of that, he'd be a restricted free agent even if they didn't sign to an extension.
Did they trade Buddy Hield?
We're talking about like he was controllable for like another, let's say 6 seasons at least 6 seasons. That's kind of hard to give up.
They gave that up for
a guy that might
Sabonis.
be gone in like 2 years or 3 years. How much is Sabonis staying for? Like 3 years?
They're going to have to pay Sabonis.
They're going to have to pay Sabonis, and there's no guarantee Sabonis stays. He'll be an unrestricted free agent by now. Obviously, they're going to give him as much as they probably can as an extension when he's eligible for it.
I don't think good teams are going to want to pay Sabonis, so
the thing
they
is,
might be able to keep him.
Yeah, but they're going to overpay for him so he can stay because they made that trade, and by then, Halliburton could be an all-star, and I don't know, man. That's a bad trade. Anyways, let's get into the Dragic news. So, per this guy, Andres Robledo on Twitter, he follows us. He was at the game, took a picture with them. There's proof online. So I kind of believe this guy's words. He's a big Miami Heat fan, I know. He said he talked to Dragic about his whole situation of coming out as a buyout player on the market. He tried to recruit him. Said he told him you need him. But Dragic said he pointed at the box score and then laughed because obviously by then the Heat were probably up like 20 points when they were talking in that Nets game. According to this guy, Dragic said that he's never wanted to play for the Dallas Mavericks. So that's kind of interesting. I thought that was very interesting. And then also Dragic told him that apparently the Bucks have called, that at least they're calling. And he tried to convince him not to become a Buck, but he said at least they're calling.
Listen, you gotta do what you gotta do, Gogi.
And then the last bit of news.
That's cold.
Which I have no idea if how accurate this is going to be, but if we're talking 2 days ago was the Nets game, Dragic said that you'll know in 3 days where his decision will land. But basically just asked him, well, whatever would make his heart happy. And he said, yeah, we'll find out in 3 days. So we'll see what makes Dragic's heart happy. If it's 3 days, that'd be tomorrow. That means he would have to agree to a buyout tomorrow. And then usually what happens in those like buyout instances where they get bought out, you know right away like who the destination team is. And lately, the word has been, I think today, Woj had tweeted it out that, yeah, the Bucks are putting a strong case, or they're pursuing him really strongly.
That's interesting. I guess I can kind of see that. I just don't. I mean, it's not like Goran was like bad last year. He wasn't Dragic, but he wasn't like useless. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like he was this. I mean, it goes quick. I mean, you know, you fall off a cliff pretty easy in this league, but
he's been resting for a long time. You have to imagine he has something left.
It's
in the
insane
tank.
that we're just like, yeah, no, Gabe Vincent, right? And that we're just there, right? We're there with that. We're not.
I like Gabe, but man, I still want Dragic just to have him on the team, even if he doesn't play, man. Like I just want him there for the veteran leadership. He's been there in those big moments.
I want it for nostalgia, Brian. I'm here for the nostalgia.
But his relationship with like the rest of the guys on the team is good. Like it helps with just chemistry overall. Like I know like Lowry's close with a lot of these guys now. PJ's obviously like becoming a really big person in the locker room, but like adding Dragic would probably make that shit even better. Like there's not enough veterans on the team that you could add to this Heat squad. Probably better than Dragic right now. And I think that would be an awesome story if he could make it to the roster. And if they end up winning the championship this year, man, that's an amazing story for him to come back and win a title in Miami. I would have won the win in Milwaukee. If honestly, like that would make me sad. Like if he wins his title playing as a Milwaukee Buck,
it'd be weird.
I'd be fucking sick.
It'd be weird. I mean, I've said before. I mean, before Kyle came here, it was like Gogie's, you know, maybe my favorite Heat point guard. Right? Obviously, that's not so anymore. Kyle Lowry lifer over here, but I love Gogie. I want him back. I just don't really see the need. They need a backup big.
There is no need.
There's no need.
The thing is that who else is on the market that you would want?
That's my thing. If there's nobody that like makes you feel any sort of way, might as well just bring Dragic back. Now, would Dragic want to come back and not play? Because like
that's the thing, and I feel like that's probably the pitch that Milwaukee's giving them because they Pat Connaughton's now out for next 4 weeks. He just had surgery on his injured wrist.
And he's been really good for them. He's been actually
really
able to survive on defense. He's been on the floor shooting the ball really well.
And then George Hill, I know, has been hurt for the last few games, so they don't really have a good backup point guard. So that's pretty much his position. He'd be the backup point guard on that team.
Milwaukee's
I don't
depth.
think Miami can really say that because Gabe Vincent's pretty much probably solidified his backup point guard minutes, and that's not even counting Oladipo coming back and probably even taking Gabe's minutes.
There's just no room for another guard. So
I just want him, man.
I want him too.
Want him on the team.
I want him to be okay with coming though. I want Gogie.
Yeah.
I want Gogie to be happy. So that's where I am with that. I'll
say one more thing on it, and I could probably relate to Dragic in one way. Is like he probably wants to have at least a meaningful role in a title team. And I feel like he had that 2 years ago in Miami. And if he can get that same kind of role in Milwaukee as a backup, even as like a 7 or 6 man, like if he can become like that first person off the bench for them,
he wouldn't be. I don't think. I mean, I think Connaughton is the guy, right? And Hill, maybe he can play over Hill, but I mean, I just think that if that bench unit is Dragic and Portis, that's just not a look that you want. Because I mean, if Bobby was better defensively, and I think Portis has been an issue for them as of late. Their defense has slipped. And I think that's one of the reasons why they look to get Ibaka, and they really need Lopez back. And I think ideally, Lopez comes back. Even if Lopez is on 100%, on defense, he's just going to be better than Portis. You slide Portis to the bench. And I think you need a little bit more oomph in your point guard on defense. I think Dedmon's like pretty neutral defensively. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's bad. I think he will make a couple plays. And that's kind of as bad as you can get when you're pairing him with like a guy like Tyler, right? Yeah. And I think the Heat in particular do a good job of like, okay, well, when we have Tyler on the floor, how can we help him survive defensively, right? And whether that's playing a lot of minutes with him and Jimmy, or they don't go a lot of 3-guard with Hero. I was looking at the minutes yesterday because I was kind of curious. They don't do it a ton, and it doesn't look great. And they do it more like Kyle, Gabe, Duncan, if you count Duncan as a guard. But they don't do a ton of 3-guard stuff with Hero, specifically because I think they understand they can't survive those minutes defensively. So, if you look at a team like the Bucks, it makes it tough when you're pairing, your 1 and your 5 are bad defensively. At least Miami has been able to offset that a little bit, and I think that's why they've had so much success with their bench units, because their defense doesn't really suffer and the offense just goes kaboom. Boom, boom. Good.
Say that, Sarah and Tony.
No, that wasn't even supposed to be an Eric reference.
Do an Eric Reed voice, please.
I don't want to, but that wasn't even supposed to be an Eric reference, and then I kind of realized.
Fun, man.
I'm tired, man. I've been.
Play a sound from your little stupid machine.
I have a Stream Deck now, so I bought a Stream Deck yesterday. So I was setting up the Stream Deck, so I have sounds now.
I'm sorry. We saw you. There is film of what you did.
It is funny because I have a little Nikias icon. It's a picture of Nikias. And when I press the Nikias button, this happens.
I'm sorry. We saw you. There is film of what you did.
I have a Tony sound, and it's a little picture of Tony Fiorentino. You know, it's a classic. I mean, it's just how can you beat it? So that's what I have. So I've been playing with
You
my.
put the hey, here's Mark Hockman one on there.
That's OG. Yeah. So I have my stream deck with all sorts of little.
I sent you a bunch of clips. You need to put them in there now.
Okay, but we were like doing the show, and I don't want to start doing heavy CPU.
We just talked about Tyler Johnson. It was a perfect segue to put in the Tyler Johnson anime one. We haven't played that one in years.
Yes, it's not you can't put folders, and I have like a bunch of things. So I was playing with it, and I have all my. Alpha was making fun of me because I actually mapped some of like more generic commands like start stream, start virtual camera, like more OBS general like things, and I mapped them to pictures of my favorite Fate Grand Order characters. So all my little waifus are at the bottom. I have Musashi, I have Morgan Le Fay, Skahak, Kama. Alpha's making fun of me. Call me a loser. I feel like today's show has been a vibe, Brian. I feel like it's been a vibe. We've been chilling with chat.
Chat, what do you feel about today's show? Is it a vibe or is it not a vibe?
I feel like today's been a vibe. I feel like it's been.
Put either a W or an L in the chat. If it was a vibe, put in W. If it wasn't a vibe, put an L.
Kevin.
Let's see how many dubs in the chat or L's in the chat we get.
Kev Sizzin says Heat odds to win Eastern Conference are plus 550 and plus 1200 to win the championship. Where does everybody's putting W? Everybody's saying very chill. Is that good? I don't know. Where do they? Is that the best? Do they have better odds than Milwaukee and Brooklyn and Philly? Somebody can check that. I think that'd be interesting. I imagine that Philly might be a bettor's favorite. I
like looking at 538. I haven't looked at it in the last few days.
Everybody's saying W. It's been a vibe. Look, I told you, man.
Awesome.
We're cool. Yeah.
Love you.
Yo, shout out to Nikias.
I'm sorry.
We love you.
We saw you. There is film.
Oh no, we got one L.
We got two L's.
We got two L's.
Only because we're not getting Gogi. Man. What do you mean? We don't know that we're not getting Gogi. We maybe get Gogi.
Listen,
chat.
Said
Jimmy
we'll find
Bucket
out by
says,
tomorrow.
Jimmy Bucket says bigger W if G was shirtless. I don't think you want that. If they win the title, Brian, I've said this before, and whoever's in this pod will get this exclusive preview. I've said before that if they win the title, and especially if Kyle Lowry's Finals MVP, I will not only do a rant with sparklers on my nipples, I will also have a fog machine, and I checked, and it is apparently building safe. And that's
I wanted to find out because I remember he had tweeted. I think he had tweeted out, or you shared it in our chat. How the fuck did you find that out? If it was safe, like where did you go? What did you search on Google?
Well, I searched is a fog machine safe for a condo, and it said yes. And then I did call my building, and it was a fun conversation. I go, "Hello, it's Giancarlo again because I just moved here, so they're pretty familiar with me." And they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "I have an odd question." They're like, "Okay, what is it?" "Can I do sparklers in my building?" They're like, "What do you mean sparklers?" I go, "No, like kind of like it won't cause it won't set alarms off or anything, right?" I go, "Like when they put like little sparklers on like champagne bottles in a club, like that." And she's like, "Are you throwing like a party?" I go, "No, it's for I do streaming."
Yeah. No, you should have said, "Why'd you lie? Why didn't you lie?"
I should have lied. I was just in the moment, and I was like, we. She's like, "Oh, like are you guys celebrating something?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of. We're just gonna do like funny gags with them." She's like, "You be careful. Like those things can harm you." And then I followed up. I was like, "Can I use a fog machine in the building?" And she's like, "I think so." She's like, "Let me get my manager." And then the boss is like, "Hey, like, what do you want to use a fog machine for?" So I had to basically give the explanation again. She's like, "I still don't understand why you need a fog machine." I go, "Because it's funny to have a fog machine." And then she's like, "I don't really think that's that funny." And I was like, "Well, your sense of humor is not what I'm really going for here." Eventually I got the okay.
How much is a fog machine? How much is that going to cost us, G?
I was like $50.
That's it?
Yeah. It's not that
Fuck,
bad.
I want one too. Might as well. I have my own house. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Radio the Kid says this sounds like
HOA
the
does
worst
nothing,
conversation of all time. It was grating. It wasn't as bad as yesterday though, because as you know, I have nothing on my walls here, and I'm gonna put some artwork, and I have some anime artwork that I want to put on the walls. And I went to a framing store, and it was pretty embarrassing because I'm bringing anime prints to a fucking framing store, and the guy's like, "Oh, so like, are these your waifus?" And I was like, I don't want to answer this. I go, bro, just fucking fit them in the frame. I don't need you to. What are we doing? He's like, they look like they can step on you. I was like, just fucking do your job, dickhead. Like, what are you fucking asking me all these questions for?
Were they?
It was the worst. One of them was.
Was it Kumiko?
No, it wasn't. Kumiko's not my wife. It was Morgan Le Fay. Chat's asking who was
That sounds
it,
like a
though.
soccer player.
It was Edelgard from Fire Emblem, and it was Morgan from Fate, from the Fate series. She's Morgan Le Fay. She's very cool. She's not out. She's coming out in the game soon. And Musashi. Musashi's really cool. So those are.
When are you getting that Jimmy Butler or Bam?
I'm gonna get a framed our Casey Bannerman jersey framed. That was really cool. A lot of people really vibe with the Casey Bannerman stuff. You know, hopefully we can do something else with Casey. Hopefully,
I've been talking to Casey lately. He wants to do something else before the end of the season. It's kind of a situation with the NBA actually. It's not like he has a license, but it's just figuring out a way to do it under like art, like category of art, instead of like actually selling reproducing jerseys.
So we'll see.
It's a little
So
different.
hopefully we could do.
But he definitely wants to do another one with us. We'll see which player. I have no idea what player he wants to do next.
Maybe the mechanic.
It's going to be another Heat player, but I have no idea who it is.
Maybe the.
I don't think it's going to be a mechanic, but we're trying to do something special for him soon. We're going to try to send him something. So
Get your mechanic.
you might see something. You might see something. Hopefully, he might tweet something out with him wearing one of our products.
Brian, are
That'd
the
be
lap
awesome if you
shirts?
could.
Are the lap shirts back up?
They are not. In fact, that's on me. I need to put those back up. That might be back up for the All-Star game. Let's do
Okay,
that.
perfect. So we'll have the lap shirts because I know some people have tweeted and asked, they're like, "Hey, where?"
Yeah,
are
I
the
know. I
lap
wanted to
shirts?
get some winter stuff up. Honestly, it's been a hassle. It's just doing all these things on the side of what we normally do. Like all this merch stuff isn't our priority as much as like the content that we produce. So all that stuff is extra. We're trying to do as much as we can. But man,
Yeah.
this on top of a full-time job is already hard as it gets.
Buddy,
Doing
I
a lot
have
of the
two.
extra
I have
stuff.
2 jobs in this. It's crazy.
But I'm working. I'll work very hard to get those back up. At least the lab shirts will be up. I want to get some winter stuff up too with some of our current designs.
My other boss, he when he hired me, he called me and he's a fan of what we do. He's like, hey, I'm a big fan of what you guys do. He's like, he's the nicest guy. He's truly one of the kindest people I've ever met. And my first conversation with him was like, I've been listening to the pod for a long time, so I'm gonna act like I know you really well. Just don't get creeped out. So
What's the strangest interaction you've had with one of our fans?
I was well, there's a couple. So I was at a.
Is it one of the watch parties?
Oh no, I know what it is. I was at a bar in I was at Bougainvillea's the night before Thanksgiving. I was out with Tito, and Solana and some other Heat Twitter people. And
so Tito used to be with 5 Reasons, I think, at the time, right?
no, this was Tito's. I think Tito's with CBS Sports right now.
Or ESPN. Well, he was with ESPN for a little bit, and then he left.
Yeah,
That's
Veronica
right.
too. So I was out with just Heat Twitter people and Solana. So you guys would know Solana. And I just saw someone say Rin Morgan. I didn't know. I love Rin, but Morgan's better. Come on, man. So I was at the bar and I was getting Solana and I were getting shots for people, and I think Alex asked me something about like Lowry, and then the guy next was, this was the night of the Minnesota game where they lost in Minnesota, and I was just like making excuses for Kyle, and the guy's like, oh my god, are you Kyle Lowry lifer? And I go, I am Kyle Lowry lifer. He's like, bro, I was on your Twitter Spaces today. Dude, I love you. You're great. It was so weird. It was pretty funny that I was known as Kyle Lowry lifer out in the open.
That is pretty cool.
Ryan says, G realizes in the moment the guy he's talking about might be watching and prefaces how nice of a guy he is. He is a nice guy. He's also my boss, but he's such a nice guy. I love him. He's great. Shout out to you. I don't want to say his name on stream.
A lot of people on the chat are saying you're gonna evacuate the whole building in your apartment with your smoke detector.
I've seen a bus outside of my house on fire. I looked at one day I looked out the window and there was a bus on fire and I was like, at what point should I be concerned? Because I've never lived in an apartment before. I've only lived in a house. So I was like, well, will that fire get here? I don't know. This is a bus on fire. And nobody seemed interested in it. They didn't seem like there was anybody inside. And it was just like kind of people drove by. Nobody did shit. And I was like, interesting. This is just a fucking bus on fire, right off of Kendall Drive. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm like, okay. Good luck.
Should we do something like as a Heapy like collective for like if they make it to the finals? I know like we want to do watch parties and stuff like that. That's a given, but like can we do something else beyond that? Like could we make our own, like how people like drive through Calle Ocho with like their pots and pans and stuff? Can we do something like that?
Like a Heapy float, we get like on the back of an F-150. We like
that'd be fucking hilarious.
We have Alf waving at people.
Doesn't Christian have a boat? Could we like have him tow the boat and you guys are like in the back of the boat just like cleaning your pots and pans and I don't know.
We blasted music.
Wearing mechanic gear and shit like that.
Blasting Justice Better and
no, you have to blast Pepas.
We have blast Pepas. Alf is dancing. Maybe we can do that. You're right. We can do like our own shitty float driving down.
What we also should do is we should do like the same shit that they were doing on the Side Talk NYC. How like they were going like around Miami trying to get people like, well, not Miami, they're going around New York trying to get people. Yeah, do something like that, but Miami style. Bro, I think that would be hilarious.
No, see the difference is that like Miami people are not like that. Like New York people, they're frothing at the mouth, right? We are a city of champions. This is a city of winners. They are not. They've never had. They have not had success.
We're pretty fucking crazy though.
No, but
I've seen pictures of what we did when the Heat won the finals with LeBron.
But that's after they won.
People were fucking on horses.
No, but that's after they won. So
okay,
what I'm saying is
that's what I mean. Like if it gets to that point where we can get that kind of natural reaction, that to me would be better than whatever could happen in New York if they ever win a title.
Okay, a couple of things in chat. Brian M says Alf shirtless drunk waving a giant Haitian flag on the back of a boat towed down Kendall. Absolutely. Although Alf would rather be caught dead.
With sparklers on your nipple?
Yeah, but Alf would rather be caught dead than be in Kendall. And then King IB Son says, would we want Justice back? Listen, I would take Justice in a fucking heartbeat. Justice is a great backup for them. Maybe he can't shoot. You can work around that. He would be truly better than anybody else because he can guard the positions that you need. Right? Like he can guard up and guard fours and threes, and he's kind of that perfect 3-4 kind of guy. I know that he had issues playing the 4 here. If it's just a solely backup role in pinch minutes, I don't think Justice would ever come back here, but I would absolutely love Winslow. Now, I think Portland would be pretty stupid for buying him out, right? At this point.
He looked good. He looked good against the Lakers.
It's King Gibson. Okay.
He shut LeBron down.
It's just 1G. I'm sorry. It was confusing. Okay, so King Gibson in chat. My bad, man. I would love Justice. I think that he would fit really well. Just with the backups. Again, he would be a third string kind of wing for them because ideally you want Caleb. I know that people think, and we've talked about this on Hangover Time a bunch, that you want your backup to be a little bit bigger than Caleb because I think most people are pretty unsure about Caleb at the 4. And I understand those concerns. I think it only appears itself in a series against Milwaukee because if you play Philly, they're not big. Embiid is big. They're not big. Tobias is not big. And you're not going to have to guard Tobias because you're playing against the backups, right? So, the Sixers aren't big at the wing. The Nets aren't big at the wing, right? Especially their backups. The Bucks can be a little big, but that's because they play Lopez and Portis and Giannis, and you can come into some trouble with some lineups where you're a little bit small, where your help comes. I do think Justice is fine in a series like that. You also have other teams like Chicago who are teensy-weensy and Cleveland. I think Cleveland is probably like a little bit bigger and more physical, but that really most of the matchups you'd have in the East, Boston small, Toronto just long, not small but long, right? I think Caleb's size is fine for a series like that. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at with that. I mean I think Winslow actually would be really ideal. Not gonna lie.
I don't think it's happening.
I don't think it's happening either.
I don't think any of that's happening. As much as I'd love to have Justice back, none of that's happening.
Luke Weber. Hey, what's up, Luke? Shout out to Luke. Says everybody ready for a Toxic Heat Twitter to start talking about a redacted reunion? Absolutely not. I don't want him. He doesn't fit
Hassan's
here.
not in the league?
Huh?
Where is Hassan? No, Hassan's
No,
in
this
Utah.
is other redacted. This is
Other. Oh,
Yeah.
I know him. Yeah,
no, Hassan's playing in Utah.
that's. I just remembered.
Hassan's playing
still
rather
backing
well
up
in
Gobert.
He's-
Really?
Yeah, he's
I
playing.
don't watch
really
many Utah games.
well. No,
man.
he's been really good, and he calls him and Rudy H&R Block. It's kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. He just listen.
That's great. That's
Sometimes
a great,
he's funny. Yeah, listen, you got to give it to Hassan. You know, I love how Leif never finds him funny.
I feel like I kind of miss Hassan though. I don't know.
I like. Listen,
I missed like seeing Tyler and Goran out there. Like honestly,
I don't think
part of me
Hassan's a
misses-
winner. I don't think
part of me
Hassan.
misses some of those players on that team.
I don't like saying that about guys, but he's just like not a winning guy, and he wasn't a winning
What's
guy.
Dion up to?
I take Dion. I mean, they don't have guards though.
Can he
That's,
play
that's
the,
the
he
problem.
Can't play the four.
That's
we need
the-
a four. Who's a four that was on those teams that we can bring back?
James Johnson's in Brooklyn right now.
Brooklyn still.
He would be a guy that's helpful, although he has the same baggage. Andre, ironically enough, Iguodala would be decent for them. Trevor Ariza, I've actually kind of warmed up to the idea of giving Trevor another run. I made fun
He's
of
not
it.
getting cut. He's not getting cut. I don't think any of these guys are getting cut from their teams already. Like the Lakers aren't going to find a replacement for Trevor Ariza. They would have made a trade.
Chat saying Roberson. Like I said, man, like you throw these
Andre
names
Robertson,
out.
the guy that used to play for OKC.
Yeah, you throw these names out, and you're just like
he hasn't been good in years, man.
King Gibson said, "Dion probably working at Foot Locker." McRoberts, McBob's, let's go.
That's the guy.
I'd be on Mcbob's. Let's
Is he
do
a
it.
stretch four still?
Let's stretch one didn't shoot.
He didn't fucking shoot.
Yeah, Wilfred says Brooklyn needs to cut one more player. I don't want Fat Boy. They're not gonna cut Fat Boy.
Who's Fat Boy? Andre Drummond?
No, LaMarcus. Come on, Brian. Shows how much Hangover
Oh
Time.
no,
you
he's
listen to.
hairy shoulders. That's right.
Yeah, no, Andre's hairy shoulders. So yeah, so none of these names are really changing my life.
Okara White. Yes.
Yes, Luke Babbitt, Jordan Mickey, and Okara White.
Chris Bosh Light.
Rodney Magruder. The most vile thing Spo ever did was
Jordan Mickey. Damn, that's a name I haven't heard in years.
his cap stuff is still in the sheet, right?
Well, it's because he has such a low cap hold that it's strategic why Miami does it. Even Dwayne Wade technically has a cap hold still with the Heat.
This
And
is
for a
funny.
while, Shaq was on there too.
Every time I look at like their cap sheet, I'm like Jordan Mickey, Dwayne
It's
Wade.
strategic. There's a reason why they do it. It's because it's the lowest cap hold you can keep on there when they're trying to do these weird sign trades and stuff, and they need to have like those weird cap hold roster spots before they fill in that player. There's a reason why.
I get it. It's just funny when you
they don't renounce them unless they absolutely have to.
Dexter
They're not
Pittman.
going to.
Yeah, chat's just really firing off names. The most vile thing Spo ever did was play Rodney Magruder at the 3 and have him guard Kawhi and LeBron in back-to-back games. That was just absolutely cruel of Spo. I think that Spo had it out for Rodney when I saw that.
You know what? They need to bring back Mario Chalmers for that final roster.
I'll never forgive them for not playing him. Not even a minute. How dare they?
He was on the fucking team. He didn't even get one single
Bro, play him a minute. Just give it to us. Why would you do that?
I'm actually really upset that they didn't blow out the Rockets on New Year's Eve because he should have played that game. They had the lead and they fucking blew it in that fourth quarter.
They ruined my
always
New
do.
Year's Eve. They ruined it. My New Year's Eve.
That would have been the game that he got playing time, and he didn't.
I like games on New Year's Eve. I'm alone in that. Well, I do. I like watching a Heat game at a New Year's Eve party. It's fun.
Could you imagine though if the Heat really do win something, he definitely would get a ring, right?
Bano.
He's a coach now.
Is
I think Ben Ujiri, I saw he was a coach for the Pelicans right now, so no, he can't play.
he a coach?
Yeah, he's a coach.
Good for Bano.
On the Pelicans.
Good for Bano. Good for Bano. All right, guys. Well, that's kind of we're truly cycling the bottom of the barrel of names.
Luke Weber says, "Forget Gogi, it's Zoran Dragic time." He's actually been pretty good.
This is a vibe. We love it. If you guys can please rate us on our pod apps, this would be fantastic. We don't have many ratings. Most other pods have way more ratings than us, and we've been around longer. So the Pepas counter, Brian M never updated us on the Pepas counter. Brian, can you update us on the sub count for
Not me, the other Brian.
for Pepas? Yeah, Brian M in chat. We're close. I gotta fix that. I mean, it's funny because Brian and I were on a call and I for like 2 hours trying to do OBS stuff. Joe Johnson's a free agent. See, yeah, we're truly next. You're gonna tell me Birdman, right? We're gonna go in the Big Three league. Henry Walker, yeah, okay. Bill Walker, we're done here.
Mike Bibby, man,
guys, yeah, Mike Bibby's Mike
Bibby
Bibby
be
can play the 4.
He'd be flopping.
That Mike Bibby could play the 4. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Stream Deck who helped us produce the show. Shout out to everybody. Make sure to rate us, review us, all that good stuff. Hangover Time tomorrow. Got Weird Off pregame show tomorrow. WAP. Luke Weber says bring Chris Bosh back. Listen, perfect front court partner for Bam. I've been saying it for years.